fourth graders, Miss Cross here with you for another math lesson today, and we are working on our learning target for the week. That is, I can explain that in a multi-digit number, a digit in any one place represents 10 times what is in the place to its right. Now, we watched a great video yesterday, which really modeled how you can see this with base 10 blocks and how that as you move to the left, you are multiplying the value of each digit by 10 as you go through the different place values. We also did a new activating strategy yesterday called Would You Rather, and we are going to do another one today. I am about to turn it to that slide, and then we will get started. Okay, so today you're going to think about, would you rather have $9,742 or $7,924, and you're being asked to compare the value of the digit 9 in each one of those two numbers. Now remember, there's not a correct answer or an incorrect answer when we do these, but you do have to be able to justify your choice and explain why you would rather have that amount. So your teacher can pause the video now to hear your answers, and then we will come right back in just a minute. Okay, friends, so if you think back to what we learned yesterday, we began thinking about how digits in a multi-digit number have 10 times the value of the digit to their immediate right. And immediate right just means the number that is right next to them on the right side, okay? So let's look at two numbers to kind of refresh ourselves from what we learned yesterday. 237 and 2,370. Okay, in 237, the value of each digit is 200, 30, and 7. So all that is expanded form for that number, and you have 200s, 3 10s, and 7 1s. For 2,370, if we break those place values apart, we have 2 thousands, 3 hundreds, 7 10s, which is 70, and 0 1s. Okay? So now, what we need to remember is that every digit in 2,370 is 10 times greater than the value of those same digits in the number 237. All right, we're going to put these numbers into a place value chart to continue our thinking about this, okay? So in the top row, we have 200s, 3 10s, and 7 1s, which is 237. And then on the bottom, we have 2,000s, 300s, 7 10s, and 0 1s, which is 2,370. So when we look at them like this, we can really start to see that each digit is 10 times bigger or has a value 10 times greater than the digit that is right beside it on its right. So for example, if we think about the 2 in the first number, the value of that digit is 200. If we think about the 2 in the second number, the value of that 2 is 2,000. And in order to get from 200 to 2,000, we would have to multiply 200 by 10. We would have to have 10 groups of 200 to get 2,000. Okay? If we want to think about the 3 for a minute, in the first number, the value of that digit is 30. And in the second, it is 300. And in order to get from 30 to 300, you would have to multiply 30 by 10 or have 10 groups of 30 to get 300. Okay, now let's look at a problem together. Emma is in the science club at school. Members of the club collected pet supplies to donate to an animal shelter. The students collected 338 cans of cat food. What is the relationship between the value of the 3 in the hundreds place and the value of the 3 in the tens place? I'm going to read that question again because it's big and lots of words, and I want to really understand what it's asking me. So it says, what is the relationship between the value of the 3 in the hundreds place and the value of the 3 in the tens place? So I am going to switch over so that you can see my paper. And I've already written this number out, 338 cans. And we have a 3 in the hundreds place, and we also have a 3 in the tens place. So what I did is I just broke this out into expanded form. 300 plus 30 plus 8. But we specifically want to look at this number and this number, and we want to think about the relationship between the value of these two numbers. So the 3 that's in the tens place is worth 30. The 3 that's in the hundreds place has a value of 300. So if we think about the value, the relationship between these two values, if I go from 30 to 300, I would have to multiply this 30 by 10. If I multiplied 30 by 10, I would get 300, okay? So the relationship between these two numbers is that 300 is 10 times greater than 30. Okay, so we would have to have 10 30s, 10 groups of 30 to get to 300. All right, we are going to look at another example now. Oops. Oh, that was the right one. Sorry, guys. Okay, so now we are looking at the same science club, and now they have collected 2,257 items. I'm going to write that down on my paper, and I will show it to you in just a second. Which statement best compares the value of the 2 in the hundreds place with the value of the 2 in the thousands place? So we're going to make our own statement comparing those two values. So let's go back to my paper. Okay, and let me see if I can cover this top one up there so you don't have to look at that. All right, so now we have the 2,257. I'm going to split that into expanded form. So we have 2,000s, 200s, 5 tens, and 7 ones. Now we're not really worried about the tens and the ones right now. We're having to really think about these two different 2s, okay? Because even though we have 2 2s, the value of those 2s is very different in this number. The first one in the thousands place has a value of 2,000. The second one in the hundreds place has a value of 200. So how do we get from this 200 to a value of 2,000? We have to multiply the 200 by 10, okay? So we would have to have 10 groups of 200 to get 2,000. So 2,000 is 10 times greater than 200. Okay, so moving from this hundreds place to this thousands place takes us 10 times greater. Okay, let's go back. You guys, we're going to now work on a riddle, a math riddle. And I am going to get a clean sheet of paper. Now your teacher can pause this video, stop this video, and model this with you. Or you can watch along as I do it. Now there's a lot of information in here, so we're going to really have to think about it, okay? So we're still talking about the Science Club. They now have collected 134 dog leashes. Now if we were doing this word problem on paper, I would have you underline or circle that 134 dog leashes. I'm going to go ahead and write it on my paper. Again, I'll show you that in just a second. Emma wrote a riddle her friends could solve to find the number of bags of dog food the students collected. So we know that they have 134 leashes, but we've got to figure out how many bags of dog food. Okay, so there's 3 parts to this riddle. The number of bags of dog food we collected has a 4 with a value that is 100 times greater than the value of the 4 in the number of leashes. So I'm going to just think about that for a minute. So it has a 4 that is 100 times greater than the value of the 4 in the number of leashes. So let me show you my paper. Sorry, this is so much back and forth. So this is how many leashes we have. I don't know how many bags of food. That's my unknown that I'm trying to figure out. But we do know that there is a 4 in the number of bags of dog food that is 100 times greater than this 4 in this number. So if I took that 4 and I multiplied it by 100, what would I get? I would get 400. Okay, so maybe that's going to be my hundreds place. Let's look back at the problem. Now, part 2 says there is a 3 with a value that is 10 times less than the value of the 3 in the number of leashes. Okay, less. So, I've got to think backwards this time. So, the 3 is 10 times less than this 3, and that 3 has a value of 30. Now, 10 times less means that I'm going to divide that number by 10. If I divide 30 by 10, how many groups of 10 do I have in 30? I believe I have 3. Okay? So I'm guessing maybe that's going to be my ones value. All right, we are almost done, I think. Let's look at the last part. Now we see that the third digit has a value 10 times greater than the sum of the digits in the hundreds place and the ones place. So I'm going to write this on my paper. So my hundreds plus my ones, and then I have to multiply that by 10. Okay. Let's look back at our paper. Okay, so if we take the hundreds and the ones and we add those together, it said sum. Remember, sum is adding. So I'm going to add 100 plus 4, and I'm going to get 104. Let me add my plus sign there so you don't get confused. Okay, so the sum of this number times 10. So I have to multiply this by 10. So I don't think this is going to be my tens place. I thought maybe it was, but now I don't think so. So if I multiply 104 times 10, if I have 10 groups of 104, I'm going to get 1,040. Okay, so let's think about this. Let me grab my other color. I have 400, I have my 3, and I have my 1,040. Those are the 3 numbers that I just figured out. So what might I need to do? I think I should probably add them up. So 1,040. Now be sure, we'll talk about this really soon when we do addition and subtraction, but be sure you line your place values up very neatly, because that's a really common place where people make a mistake if they're not lined up nice and straight. So 0 plus 0 plus 3 is 3. 4 plus 0 is 4. 0 plus 4 is 4. And bring that one down. So we have 1,443 bags of dog food. Okay, so hopefully you have worked that out with me or with your teacher in your class, and that is all of the practice that you guys are going to do today. So keep thinking about the relationship between all these place values, and that as we move to the left, numbers go up in value by 10 times. Okay, friends? I will be with you again tomorrow. Have a great day, and please let your teacher know if you need any help or have any questions. See you later, guys. Bye.